Evolution of Tool Use and MCP in Generative AI with our guest, Gautam Baghel. Hey, everybody. How's it going today? Hey, Gautam. How are you doing?
Hey there. I'm good. How are you, Chris?
We are doing good. Thank you so much for asking. As everybody has heard, there's this thing out there called generative AI. There's also this other thing called model context protocol. There's so many things, and people are starting to roll in immediately. So there's obviously heightened interest for that. So we're super excited to have you on this evening. But first, a little bit of a roundtable. Damien, sir, how you been? Happy New Year! Welcome to the New Year. How you doing?
Doing well. We did a show last week, didn't we?
Yeah, but I can say Happy New Year twice. There was people not on last week's show that made it to this one. So Happy New Year to them as well.
Wait, that's illegal. Yes, Happy New Year. I'm doing well. I've had a hell of a week, but it's only Wednesday, so
Dude, so I said this on LinkedIn the other day. I was like, it's only January 8th, and I'm already blocking. What did I say? San Francisco senior commercial real estate executives. I made this post. I had been noticing this trend about how folks that I watch in the industry have been leaving the companies that they've been working at. Folks leaving AWS, folks leaving like large CSPs. And I made this observation, just out loud opining to the universe, as it were, that RTO is going to cause companies to lose a lot of good talent. If you are highly talented and you have high visibility and high mobility, and your company is doing something that you don't like, you are more likely to leave. I said that as an opinion. Chris Williams out to the internet. This dude, I had to block him eventually. He responded very poorly. and so first off, a bunch of people saw it and they said, yes, I agree, Chris. Yes. I mean, 90% of the people on there were like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you for saying that out loud or whatever. This guy, he came at me hard. He was like, Archie, and so I was like, who is this guy? So I clicked on the link, and I did not look at his I didn't look at his profile. I just looked at his posts and his responses, and it was all like, RTO is the best thing ever, blah 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 blah. But he said it like the same phrase over and over again. And so I off the cuff responded back to this guy saying, you're either a bot or a San Francisco real estate executive, so you can just piss off. And that caused him to lose his mind. He started responding not only to me, but to everybody else in there that said that agreed with me. And so I was like, what is happening? So I went to his profile. Sure enough, commercial real estate, downtown San Francisco. I was like, oh, I nailed it without even realizing I nailed it. And he started getting really, really ugly. So I just blocked him. And I said, that's enough of that nonsense.
There are opinions that I think people should be checked, right? Like, if you have an opinion, like maybe someone should punch you in the face about it, right? Especially if it's like
100%
a bad one, right?
100%. No, I agree.
If you think some type of human is less than some other type of human, immediate punch in the face. Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
And just rip. Just like repeat as necessary until that attitude gets fixed.
Yeah.
But to lose your mind over freaking return to office, geez.
Yeah. It
what
was.
Else?
I'll send you the
problems in your life.
I've blocked him, but I left all the comments on there. So I'll share the link with you, Damien. You'll get a chuckle out of this guy. It was grand fun. Shala, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. I decided not to write on that post because I saw.
Oh, so you saw it?
I did, because I started to write back, but I like to oh, there's comments, like what are people saying? And I was like, oh.
I'm afraid, this is why I'm afraid a little bit of showing my face too much in the public and digitally, because of this stuff like this. I feel like I'm sometimes emotionally sensitive, that stuff like this can just ruin my whole day. Like, and
Oh,
I'm like,
100%.
yeah, it's this is why I like quit all the mainstream like Instagram, like Twitter, like Facebook. I'm not there.
100% fair, dude. No, social media is toxic. If it wasn't a part of my job, I would 100% abandon all of that stuff. It's not. It's just. I mean, even with that, even knowing what I know and being able to blow that dude off, I grinded on that. That grounded my gears for a good 8 hours. I thought about that afterwards. I went out on a walk and I was thinking about it. I was like, why am I thinking about this asshole?
Right.
I watch cute videos. Like when sometimes I share in our Discord, like I'm the one watching like on YouTube, like this family has these 2 otters and they just record their otters being otters. Now there's a cute pig that pushes buttons to talk to its humans.
What?
And that's what I do.
I say science has not gone far enough. I want to know what a pig has to say.
Yo, I have to send it. Like the pig has gotten good to where however they taught the pig these buttons, it knows how to say, I'm mad, I love you, give me food. And so one of the videos, the pig's like, it's Merlin the pig. The pig goes, hey, hits the button, says, give me fruit. And the owner goes and says, no, remember you're on a diet. The pig hits the button and says, no. And then she repeated it, say you're on a diet. And Merlin hits the other button saying, I'm mad.
I mean, I completely empathize with that pig. I'm not gonna lie. When I'm on a diet, I get mad too.
And yeah, when my wife was like, another beer, Damien, and I'm like, go away.
That's entirely different. You know it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I'm much more interested in what a pig has to say than most humans. So
that's what I do on social media, and then all is well in the world.
I just curate all the cute stuff to show my wife later, but then I expose myself to the full unfiltered horror of the world at large. I would like to be on the receiving end of just the cute videos because I really enjoy sharing those with her. I'm like,
yeah, start sharing
her,
on Discord, Shala.
I can start sharing.
Yeah.
I need a timeline cleanse like daily nowadays. Okay, all right. We're
here to talk about technology.
Speaking of humans that we do want to hear from, Gautam, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm great. It's good to see you all, Chris, Damien, Shala. It's great to be here as well. But yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No, absolute pleasure. Full disclosure for everybody else, and your handle says AI at HashiCorp, so I feel like it's okay to say it out loud.
Yes.
Gautam and I work together. He gave an internal talk about the things that we're going to show today, and as he was giving it, I'm like blowing him up on the Slack channel. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Please come on the show. Let's talk about this out live, out to the public, and in a community session. And he was like all in for it. I was like, done. Let's get this going. So what is it that you do at HashiCorp? Why does the audience want to listen to what you have to say about AI?
Sure. So I've been here at HashiCorp for 4 years. I was on a team called Partner Alliances for most of those years, the past three and a half years. And
it's too bad Sean's not here.
Yeah, I know. Sean and I have worked in the past, and I think my role could be described as building integrations with emerging technologies. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it. So if a cloud provider or a technology partner has something bright and shiny that they want to publish out, they're building something, they want to include HashiCorp in their announcement or whatever they're building, I would go there, build a solution, build the integration. So as you can imagine, when AI hit the market, what happened to AWS, Google, and Microsoft? It was all about, hey, HashiCorp, what are you doing with AI? What are you building with AI, right? So for the past 2.5 years, I've been on this journey with cloud providers and some other tech partners too, of just building out, using whatever they're kind of publishing or the new technologies for AIs that is out there, and building kind of solutions with them, right? Few of the things that were kind of very successful early on was, a Terraform Plan Analyzer with AWS, where, we'd use AI to kind of decrypt, like what are you actually deploying with Terraform, right? A lot of people don't know, like they're using Terraform today. They don't know, like, okay, plan file is like huge. What am I actually, publishing here, right? And so there's bunch AI has evolved, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But I've been through like each of the step of the journey. Like I can go and talk about. Do you guys remember RAG? Do you guys remember the tool search? Do you guys remember
Wait,
like
is RAG passe now? I just learned RAG.
No.
What's going? What?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the forefront of AI, it's right now. It's all about like skills and cloud code stuff. So it's like people like the technology. If the memory of software is like a time span of like 5 years, and somebody remembers a technology term for 5 years, for AI it's like 3 months.
It really is. It really is. It's nuts that like. Damien and I were joking. MCP was the bad guy in Tron for a very, very long time, and now every morning I sit down and I look at the different AI TLDR newsletters and stuff like that, and like new things are popping up like literally daily. Like you said, the Claude skills. Everybody now has markdown files stuffed into dot folders in their operating systems now, but that wasn't even a thing a year ago, and AI wasn't even a thing. I mean, it was LLMs were still around and large language and stuff like that, but it's nuts how fast it's changing nowadays.
Exactly, and so I think the vantage point that I've had, luckily enough, because of my job, is to kind of be at every step of the way as we kind of evolve from just simple chatbots that kind of doing some cool stuff, but not really more than just sort of basic Google search with some to all the way now like autonomous agents that people are running overnight and checking the status of those things in the morning. Hey, like what happened to this the thing I was working on, right? So it's been very interesting. And yeah, and I switched over to the product management team here at HashiCorp a few months ago, and I'm part of the what's called the Agentic Ops and Ecosystem team here at HashiCorp. So, so we were doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those are big words, but yes, that's
cool.
That's been my role recently. Yeah.
Well, without further ado, then I kind of want to get into it because we're going to have a lot of questions about this. Do you know how to share inside of StreamYard? There's a little screen share button. I want to get you on screen so that we can start seeing the cool stuff.
Yes. Let me see if I can do that.
There we go.
You're able to see my screen?
There it is right there.
Okay. All right. So let's start here. Let me say this thing, the slideshow. Let's just do this, and
perfect.
Hopefully it goes away. Let me see. It's not for. There we go. All right. So there you go. All right, I'm excited to talk about the evolution of tool use and MCP in generative AI. And I kind of introduced myself already, but if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, that's my LinkedIn right there. And yeah, this is sort of what I'll cover today. I want to talk about, I think we got into a little bit there itself, but I want to talk about just the general evolution of Gen AI. And I want to reintroduce MCP a little bit. I think people hear about it a lot and kind of, it's a buzzword, for a lot of people. But what is it? Like, why do we care? Like, why did it take off? Why didn't anything else take off? Those kind of things. And take a deeper look, but not like super deep, because you can dive into MCP spec and, drown for like 2 full days, right? And then I want to talk about why would you use MCP? Why not, just like vanilla LLMs or like just simply just like chatbot stuff? And then I have a demo. I'd like to show a demo. The way I've set up the demo is I'd like to do, like people can kind of do it with me. So if you're in front of a computer, or if you can get in front of a computer, you can follow along. So I feel like that should be exciting. So yeah, let's get into it.
Cool.
So this is how I kind of see the broad strokes of AI, workflow timelines, right? In the beginning, you had this like helpful assistant, the big data centers and big AI people kind of scoured the internet, created a database. We all know how kind of generative AI kind of came to be. But yeah, there's so much happened in the past 2.5 years that it does deserve a refresher. So we started off with like simple assistant, you can taught how to be conversational. People like AWS were and Azure were building like guardrails of how to have a safe conversation with AI. Then it went into, better reasoning models. So it can reason like, okay, if I'm showing this output, why am I doing that? Why not this instead of that? Then people were very interested in like, okay, how do I make this useful for my stuff? It's good that you can Google search this internet for me, but like I have data in my own personal repositories or documents that I want to bring in, and that's where RAG came into picture. RAG, and just so you kind of reiterate what I was saying to Chris earlier, it's still very relevant. RAG is not going away, but it's just, when you look in the AI news today, it's all about either, skills, spec-driven development, MCPs. It's like people have almost forgotten about RAG, but it's the foundation now almost, right? And so then, models kind of had created tool use and function calling, right? So it started off with something simple, like, hey, here's how you can do like tools like a calculator or a web search or a weather app or weather APIs, right? And calling those tools via APIs was a little bit cumbersome, but you could do it. You can directly kind of do it. Then MCP came along, and I feel like MCP had a journey that was kind of very similar to Terraform, and I'll talk about that in a bit. How that is kind of very similar, standardizing the ecosystem kind of journey. But it became like a universal adapter, like a plug and play for every tool that you used. If you used, let's say, Vercel, or if you used, Vault, right? MCP gave you an ability to just bring Vault into like your AI window, right? And then eventually it's it's going towards agent. Like I can't avoid using the word agent, So being autonomous and making the decisions of what's approved, what's not approved, and performing its tasks just like a human would. And when it comes to code specifically, the evolution has been slightly different. That was overall kind of Gen AI evolution. This is like code specific. We as developers want to make sure that generated code doesn't have like simple issues, starting from like simple issues like syntax errors to like a little bit more advanced. That's like, it doesn't hallucinate. It doesn't invent something that doesn't really invent an API that doesn't really exist. That is like have no compile time errors. And C, it performs what I asked it to do. If I asked it to implement an API spec, it actually does that. And so it doesn't have any runtime errors, right? And what's going on in the AI space right now is with, newer assistants like, Claude Code, Copilot, Keto, Gemini, CLI, IBM, Bob, this feedback loop of here's the like error, here's the error that I generated some code, I tried to compile it, but here's the error, and then it goes into a loop. But the error goes back to the LLM and says, hey, here's the error. It kind of resolves itself, or tries to resolve it in the code, runs it again, compiles it again. So this feedback loop kind of goes faster and faster, right? So the AI engine kind of writes code, reflects on them, changes them, make sure it adheres to like testing framework that you've set up, and loops back. And it's a very interesting evolution to see, at least in my opinion, of how a job of a software engineer will kind of change in the next 3 years, where they won't really focus on the nitty-gritty of searching like code in Stack Overflow or Google, but really defining like outcomes, testing strategies, markdown files to communicate with AI, shell files, and so where does like MCP fall into all of these? It can either be the execution arm for the AI engine, like it could run certain tools for the AI engine that it would normally have hard time either kind of knowing how to run, or it's behind some sort of auth wall, and like from simple stuff like reading a file to like more complex stuff like Playwright, which can do like browser automation, or it can do context or knowledge retrieval. So if there is some data out there that these large language models have not consumed or frequently hallucinate because the data out there is confusing and non-structured, then MCPs can be used to get that data during the runtime, and provide the model with the context. With that, I'll move to some intro into what MCP actually is. So MCP is the open source project from Anthropic. I think I just heard that they had their first year anniversary last November. So it's only been out for like a year and a couple of months, but
that's nuts. That is so nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And really it has kind of like caught on like wildfire. And this is what I was kind of saying, like in many ways, I feel the MCP's ecosystem like chokehold, like kind of similar to what Terraform did for the infra ecosystem, right? I mean, it is possible to call all the APIs for different cloud providers and software vendors individually, too, right? Like you don't really but Terraform abstracts all of that really, really nicely in form of providers. So if you are working with like, AWS APIs, you have the AWS provider, which kind of abstracts all of that for you, and you have a very simple interface that you work with. And MCP does very similar things. Behind the scenes, there could be a bunch of complex API operations or file read operations you might be doing. But on the front of it, what it exposes to the AI assistant or the LLM is very simple. It's a bunch of like tools, and it tells the LLM how to use those tools. So it says something like, use this tool when you are asking questions about HashiCorp console. Like it will say something like that. And when the LLM kind of sees that the question is about console, it hits that tool and runs that tool. So it's very similar. It abstracts all of these calls and works on a basis of a contract of like request response, on basis of tool selection. So the core concept of sort of like, this is how I see it. There's three main kind of pillars of MCP. There are other pillars that are coming up in spec as we kind of, as the MCP spec evolves. MCP spec is a giant kind of spec document that Anthropic releases every once in a while, like a couple of months or 3-4 months. And that spec is adopted by both MCP's clients, like a client could be like GitHub Copilot, which implements MCP client protocol. And it's also it should be implemented by MCP server creators. So if you are creating your own MCP server, you should adhere to the MCP spec. Here's the reality though. So you have tools, resources, and prompts, right? So tools can sort of execute things on your behalf. So if you have like CLI tools, like CRUD operations, if you want to do CRUD operations, you use tool for that. Resources is for retrieval, like literally if you have a file or a PDF or unstructured data kind of living somewhere, you can use that to kind of bring that and give the LLM context about that. And prompts are more like predefined templates. So if you know that your customers or your users have a set pattern of requesting something, like, for example, they have a pattern of like saying, give me, the best practices guide for deploying stuff in AWS, right? A lot of people ask for that, right? So you can define that as a prompt, right? But the reality, so these kind of paradigms exist in the MCP spec, but the reality is that unless the AI clients implement these things really, really well, you as a server builder won't have a great time of, interacting with these components. So the support needs to be in both sides, right? It needs to be in things like Copilot and Cloud Code and Gemini and all that, before it can be on the server side as well. And what I've seen, in the code assistants now is most of them support tools. Like the primary way of working with MCPs is just tools. You just build out like tools. Resources and prompts, and there's things like elicitation and sampling. It's supported by fewer clients. So if you want to build something that has like a broad outreach, I think tools is the way to go. Even if you're retrieving a document, or even if you're retrieving files or doing like a read operation, you could go and do it via tools. Even though resources are kind of meant to do that. That's kind of funny thing that I've kind of observed in the industry around like MCP spec. So let's take a look at how does that workflow work, right? So on the left hand side, the AI host, that's your Visual Studio Code, Cursor, Claude, and you have your MCP server, that's your adapter for your products, and your product can have APIs, databases, files, CLI commands. When a user writes a prompt that says something like, could you tell me how many modules I have for Terraform? Let's just say that. The AI host understands that, okay, I have a tool for this that can perform this job better than I could. It goes to the MCP server, sends a simple JSON payload. It's very simple, and I'll show you in the demo. And the MCP server essentially goes back and fetches that to the product and the APIs, right? And so MCP does that conversion, taking in the JSON request, what it means, and sending it back to your API, what your API expects, right? And then once the product responds back, we respond, whatever the response is to the AI host. This is also interesting because your API, let's say in your product, you have a weather engine, right? It could have an enormous amount of payload, right? You don't want to send all of that to the, to VS Code, right? Because then you're going to burn your tokens and you're going to burn your context windows, right? So a good MCP server will try to reduce, and only send the relevant context next. Cool. So I'll talk about the Terraform MCP server and sort of our kind of journey with this, with MCPs, when we decided to kind of go and build the MCP server, how did we design it, those kind of things, and what can it do, and what is the power of it, right? So this is something that I was kind of facing when I was using chatbots myself without the MCP server, before MCP was a thing, right? What I noticed is the documentation is public, for all the Terraform resources, the providers and whatnot. But it would hallucinate a lot, because what happens is the schema changes per version of the provider. Like there are new providers being developed, there's older providers being deprecated, and depending on when the training was done for the model, the responses would vary, right? It could get data from like 4 years ago, or it's just
and then you would get into an argument with it about the fact that it thought that it was using the most recent one, and you'd say, "Hey, use the more recent provider." Like, you're absolutely right, Chris. Here, let me pull it back, and then it would give you this even older, and you're like, "What are you doing?" Oh,
right.
Hold on, let me. Then you get stuck in that. Yes, I haven't been there.
I really don't like that message of "you're absolutely right." I mean, I don't know. Like, I think power users of some of the AI tools will know like how frustrating that is. It's like, I don't want to hear that I was absolutely right.
Yes.
I want you to just fix it.
Right. I whenever I do a prompt now, I say, be very concise. Don't butter me up. Just spit facts. Don't coddle me, is what I say.
I've had to tell it to tell me no, because everything's like, yes. It's like, tell me no.
Right. I've also asked it to create so many markdown files. Like it creates like 5 different markdown files. That's like a README, security guide, like production guide. And I'm like, calm down, AI. I know you're trying to burn as much token as you can.
Right? Yes, exactly. I genuinely think that's what it's doing. I think there's like a secret prompt in there saying, just be as verbose as you want to be to rack up the bill.
Right. And also like emojis. That's another one of my gripes, is like, why do you use so much emojis, man? But yes, so the MCP server kind of, because it acts like the adopter, we understand a little bit better of like what exactly are you asking, right? Like which provider version, like which module, which policy, right? Like these API calls are sort of more deterministic rather than like the AI sort of guessing, it might be that, or it could be that, right? And then there's a lot of like Terraform tasks that people would either write shell scripts for, or just had a lot of trouble kind of automating, right? And you could do that now with the MCP server. I'll show how. Like, I know this is kind of like a high level slide, but like I'll show how. So this is how it kind of MCP in general works, right? I know this is sort of Terraform heavy because that's what I built and work for, but like this is generally how MCP works. So you'd give a prompt. You'll say something like, okay, I need help setting up my Azure storage bucket using Terraform. And what happens is it runs a bunch of tools, and you would observe it will run a couple of tools like sort of in conjunction with each other. So first it will get the latest provider version, right? So there's like, you're not using some old stale version of the provider. Then it's gonna figure out, okay, what are the most relevant documents I need to pull? It's a list of documents. It's like, okay, for storage buckets, you need maybe encryption keys, maybe you need resource groups in Azure, right? Things like that you might need. And it kind of compiles all that data and individually gets the schema for each of those, or the README documentation for each of those resources, right? So the LLM has much better and much richer context when it generates that code, because much lesser chance of hallucination, unless you wrote the documentation wrong itself. So if the documentation is wrong, the AI is going to be wrong. But for most of our providers, I think we have a pretty solid pipeline for writing documentation. So here's the demo. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do this live. See if I can do this live, and then if I cannot, then I will show you the recorded one. So let's try this. Okay.
Whatever it is
The
that you're sharing, it's very, very low res.
Yeah, the resolution is like super mushy. It's coming through low res. You can't even read the letters on this share. Are you on VPN? It's sometimes it cleans up and then it goes away. It's weird. I haven't seen this before.
I am not on VPN. I don't think I am. And hopefully my internet, I pay a lot of money for the connection too. So hopefully my internet is good too. But let me see. I'll open a. I'm using. I'm trying to use IBM stuff. So I have this IBM.
Hey, you brought Bob.
Yeah. I brought Bob. Is it still blurry?
So what's weird is your camera looks really good.
Yeah, your camera's close, but your screen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the weird part.
That's weird. Maybe should I turn my camera off then?
No. That's not going to fix it. Let's kill the share and then re-add it again. Are you sharing? Are you sharing the whole screen? Or are you sharing? No. Yeah, of course you are. Hold on. I'm going to kill the share at the bottom. Just click hide.
Yes. Let me try that.
All right, and then re-add it. And let's see if that fixes it.
Let's see. Yes.
Oh, sorry, Shala. I double-clicked. I double-clicked and I got rid of you. I apologize.
I see how you are.
Oh, Manny just said, I'm waiting for Gautam to say it's not just another API abstraction.
Is this better?
It's not, but increase the resolution on the text.
I zoomed in. Did that help? No, maybe not.
We'll figure it out.
Strange.
I mean, it is.
Okay, let me try one.
Because like in the thumbnail below is showing just fine.
Let me try shading the window. Maybe the window shading will kind of fix it. Let's see. Share screen.
Enhance.
Enhance.
Yeah. How's this? Is this any better? No.
A little bit.
I
feel like I'm at the eye doctor.
It is actually a bit better than it was before. Let me pop it in that way. If you can increase the font size a little bit too. Oh, there it goes. It just got sharp.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good now.
Okay, cool. All right.
So this is Bob the Builder.
About that. I'm not
this is Bob, yeah.
Bob the Builder.
It's
Bob.
I like that look at his head. Like I moved the cursor. Like,
I didn't notice that it did that.
That's fun.
Does Bob stand for anything, or it's just a name?
It's his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in closed beta with that. So it was announced, so we're allowed to talk about it now. But it's a closed beta within IBM, and so I have access to it, but we can't like give anybody links to the bits yet.
Yeah,
and this demo, it can, like, MCP works with any of the clients, so you can do it with VS Code, do it with Cloud Code, anything that you use for your AI stuff. I set it up, Bob, here because I was just playing around with it, and it's kind of like fresh in my environment. It's just about freshness these days. Like I moved from Cursor to Claude, so like so
we're all playing with all the new tools.
Yeah. So I think so. Okay, so I've already set up the MCP server, and it's project level, so you can kind of see my MCP lives here. I'm not going to click it. The configuration is available on the GitHub repo for Terraform MCP server. You can just Google Terraform MCP server, and you should be able to kind of see this file. You can also kind of go here and say, look at the MCP servers here. We can kind of see it has like 34 tools, 3 resources. And if you remember, I was talking about tools, resources, and prompt in my slide, and these are those kind of things. Let's talk about tool, resources, and prompt. So you can see the logs as well here. So it's already kind of connected. Connection is usually pretty simple. So if I ask it a prompt, something like this, can you create an EC2 instance for me using best practices, searching latest documentation? You can kind of see is using the MCP server to fetch and do those things that I was kind of talking about earlier. So here's how the core of MCP is very simple, and you can totally build your own. Like, it's very, very easy to build your own MCP server. It's a very simple request and response based HTTP server. I know it's works in conjunction with AI, but it's MCP itself doesn't have to be AI. It could just be a deterministic block of code. So this is the request the model sends my MCP server, the Terraform MCP server. So it says, okay, get me the latest provider version. The namespace is HashiCorp and the name is AWS, right? Once I receive this request, I'm like, oh, I know which provider they're talking about, and I can pull that request, right, and pull that response. So I send back, okay, here's the latest version of the AWS provider. So if I go back to the Terraform registry right now and look at the latest version, it's going to be 6.28.0. And similarly, it's searching for the provider documentation. He's like, hey, I want to search for EC2 instances right here. Could you tell me some of the potential documents that I could use? And it says like, okay, here's a potential document. You can look at EC2 instances, metadata is, instance state. So now model has this choice of like, okay, there's a bunch of response it gave me. I'm going to pick the most relevant documentation before I generate my code, right? And so it fetches this detailed documentation. And so if you look at this detailed documentation, it has, actually, it searched for more documentation here. So let me see if there details documentation. If you look at this one, it pulls data samples directly from our providers and the registry. So this data is not stale because it's updated and it's maintained by people who are responsible for our providers. And it's doing a lot more things. I'm kind of slowing down what it's doing. I think it's gone and done bunch of different it has made a plan like I'm gonna do this and that, but you can kind of easily see how MCP acts like its execution arm, like it's using these tools, making those API calls, kind of making sure that it doesn't hallucinate and do all those kind of things. Yeah, and you can kind of see it started generating some code here on the left-hand side. So it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to I'm going to let it run, we need to have a little bit more patience for good, Terraform code. It's going to create main.tf, output.tf, and all those kind of things and work on that. There you go.
Sorry, there's some hilarious responses in the thread right now. Ask it if a well-architected framework has a corresponding poorly architected framework flag, such as -- YOLO. Ask it if it can see why kids love the taste of cinnamon toast. I hate you, Richard. Yeah,
I don't get that one.
Yes, you do. You're as old as I am, Damien. You get that one. Wait, do you know? Are you serious? Do you genuinely not get that?
Toast crunch?
Is it just a reference to the old ad campaign, or is it like?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But can this person is like the lifeguard? But can he see why kids love the taste? Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay.
I don't know that one.
I didn't know.
I don't know that
a more
one.
recent thing.
No, he's old too.
No, the reference. I didn't know if it was something like Chat GPT saying you could microwave a fork or whatever, right? Like, I mean, you can, but usually just one.
just one time.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Gautam, this demo is so blurry I can't see anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just stop
It's not you. It's obviously not you. I mean, our cameras are super clean. So yeah. I'm going to blame StreamYard. I'm going to send them a sternly worded letter.
Do you have the demo recorded anywhere that we could provide offline?
Yeah, I do. Actually, let me see. There's a blog out there that I wrote as well, which kind of talks about most of the same things with the videos as well. So if people want to, they can kind of go there and look at some of these things. I'm not sure why my screen was blurry, but I apologize.
What we'll do
okay.
is so we'll put that blog in the show notes so that people can go reference it and everything. I mean, it's super weird. When we first started, it was crisp and clean all the way through most of the PowerPoint presentation. And then when it flipped over, it got super muddy. So it's totally fine. If you've got demo versions of it, then we can do it. Let's just flip over to the Q&A section anyway. We've got 15 minutes left anyway, so we might as well get to Q&A. Other than Cinnamon Toast Crunch, what other things do we want? We've got an AI expert in the house. So what kind of things do we want to ask?
Do you
Damien,
think
Shala,
AI is
please.
a bubble?
As Chris was saying, AI expert, I was like ringing my head. Am I an AI expert? It's like,
you are now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's so hard to kind of the biggest thing that I have right now is keeping up with the industry and like the changes like 5 different companies are doing, because we are consumers. We're not the ones who are like, it's really the Anthropics of the world, Microsofts of the world, like they're building like new technologies and spec kit and skills and all that. It's so hard to like keep up with all of this. Like I feel like half my job is just keeping up with all of this. For the AI bubble thing, I think like there's part of me where it's like I'm very excited as an engineer about the tech. Like I don't need to like search for like 1,000 different documents and like 2,000 different places and the chore work. You guys remember we created so many shell scripts to do like menial tasks, and I'm so glad that's kind of like offloaded, right? Like I don't need to like write each of these and understand what the syntax and whatnot is. The other side of me is like the AI skeptic, which is like, I wish like we weren't like using so much water for each request, like just burning down like drinking water and whatnot, like usable water. So there's both sides of me. There's the skeptic side of me that kind of like is like, hey, this at some point this is gonna stop like evolving. Like we're not gonna get AGI this way, like and then there's the other side of me, which is like very useful tech. For me, I was using Google search for a bunch of this stuff, but like I don't need to do that anymore, and agents can kind of like get me 80-90% there.
Google search is hot garbage.
Now it used to be great.
It's gotten so much worse. I actually really, really like being able to kind of conversationally search, like instead of that skill that we all had of crafting the perfect Google search term, just asking an entire sentence, right, and getting a reasonable answer. I use it mostly for technology related stuff, like hey, how do I check persistent volume claims with kubectl, right? Which is pretty easy and straightforward, and it gives you all the breakdowns of everything to do, right? But yeah, it's I don't know. I would give some of it up, like I said in the YouTube chat, I would give some of it up to get RAM cheaper again.
I could see that.
It's nuts that it's going to be this expensive for like sourcing isn't going to be fulfilled until 2031 or something. Anyway, we're not going to go into that doom spiral. We have too many other doom spirals to talk about.
Yes. Sorry, I am already fully engaged in another existential crisis. I don't have room for another one.
I don't. In terms of the evolution of MCP, do you see it? What do you see? So there was MCP, now there's skills. Is there going to be a confluence point? Is one of them going to evolve past the other? What do you think's happening, or what do you see? What's happening?
The race is so neck to neck. It's crazy because Anthropic first released skills as like a proprietary thing, right? Like the skills has been out for a second now, right? So they released it as a proprietary thing. They wanted to kind of see, if they can monetize it or, keep it close to their ecosystem and whatnot. And last year around some point, they were like, okay, we're going to open it and we're going to flood the gates. And now I think most of the AI, I just heard somebody mention, I haven't verified this, Google's also supporting skills now, like Gemini and is also supporting skills now. So it's like it's so hard to predict what the next kind of thing would be. Last reInvent, I worked with the AWS team to create Keto Powers, right? And Powers is very interesting too. Like,
did you really?
Yeah, yeah, I did. So
dropping that bomb right at the end of the show. Good
Right.
call.
So what's interesting with MCPs is that traditional MCPs, if you have, and one thing I'll say is like, if you are, a DevOps engineer, developer, release engineer, anybody like that touches software, try to make one MCP server. Like seriously, it's not that hard. You can even ask AI to kind of make one for you. If you have an open API, like some API that you can just make an MCP out of it. And it's so much fun to use that MCP and ask AI a bunch of questions about that API, right? So it's a lot of fun.
And you can use it to make skills for yourself now too. Write me a skill. Just drop it in the MD in the folder. It's nice.
There you go. So the problem with MCPs was it's as soon as it loads, because of the tool description stuff I was telling you about, and all the like it immediately loads and it consumes a bunch of context. Like it consumes like 80,000 tokens or something like that, depending on how many tools you have and how many tool descriptions you have. It just burns your tokens, right? And which, as you said, some companies were like, oh, that's cool, because then, we burn tokens. That's what we want. But then they eventually realized it's not scalable. So what Powers and Skills, both kind of individually tried to do is what's called dynamic loading of tools. So like, don't load all the tools that MCPs have upfront. Like, don't do it like as you are initiating the server. You do it on runtime. So like on the runtime, you understand, okay, this tool might be useful. So, okay, let me load this MCP server during runtime. Then it loads the MCP server with all those kind of tools and, kind of go from there and build those out. So that's the next kind of phase in MCP. It's very hard to say, like generally in AI workflows, like who's going to win? Is it skills, power, spec kit, Gemini extensions that they're launching? Like there's like 6 or 7 different things. It's like just neck to neck everything. It's kind of going. But it sounds like skill is at the top right now. Skills is like the alpha right now. It's like alpha is a bad word, but like skills is at the top.
We know what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and it is crazy that it is so neck and neck, and like literally like a week later, the next thing will be like circumvented. I'm almost I wish I wasn't inclined to do this, but I'm almost inclined to like just step back, let everybody sort this out, and then learn the thing after all the dust has settled. But then you're missing out on like keeping up with it as you go. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation where you want to still keep learning it, but then you're like, come on, give me a break. Just pick a thing. Let's do the thing.
Right.
But
there's a question from Jay here that I wanted to get to. And hi, Jay. Hello. The question is this: have you looked at pushing IAC change logs into a time series Granite model to see what it sees for predicting what months are the worst for SRE pain?
It's always Fridays, weirdly.
Yeah. Fridays.
That sounds like a very interesting idea. I actually like it. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a fun idea. I haven't done it myself. I don't touch those, SLO systems where like you have upkeeps and, on-call people personally, but it sounds like a great idea to like. I think SRE agents are also I think that's a very hot topic right now. Like, just building like an SRE agent that can pinpoint where exactly in your 1,000 level stacks. The same thing you were talking about, Damien, was like kube control commands of like figuring out like, okay, where did my pod, went to what service.
Yeah, I think that would be good as long as it kind of understood the repercussions of, there's a real life thing here that you're dealing with that lives outside of your little fancy model, right? Like there's like money and human lives over here. You know, like
Right.
you can't just restart everything, you know, like that would be a very interesting prompt to build that kind of understanding of the consequences into it. And I think that's what AI is missing, is it doesn't understand the consequences.
Right.
Anyways, that's me lecturing. I'm done.
Well, I mean, that is the current argument right now. Like, we are all collectively using AI for a lot of good things. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit more judicious with it. I have it examine repos and say, okay, explain this code to me, break it down, especially if I haven't, read the language or anything. But I don't tell it to like buy my airline tickets. I don't tell it to drive my car without any human intervention. I mean, there's a bright line where I stop using AI, and that's where my money or my life start coming into play here. So yeah, I mean, we are in an interesting time, and I totally gave away the giveaway information. Ip Labrasi, I might be, I don't know what the name is in there, but you've won the weekly drawing. Congratulations. Ping me. If you Google Mistwire, you'll be able to see me. DM me on LinkedIn or in here inside of YouTube. Isaiah, there we go. Isaiah, ping me, and I will get you your $50 AWS gift. Thanks to AWS for the free gift certificate. What am I saying? Free compute credits, not gift certificate. It's not for like Amazon, the portal. It's for compute credits, so you can play with it and spend time on Bedrock and learn all about AI and MCP servers.
You know what? Between AWS and IBM, can I just say, money, please?
I would love to. We
are
personally
accepting sponsorships.
I get paid in blue points and this new thing called Arvin bucks. I can only spend them in the company store. It's very weird. It's very weird how they do things internally. I wish I was joking. No, I am joking.
It actually sounds kind of depressing. Yeah. Kind of sounds like a
only one existential doom spiral per episode, Damien. We have to just keep a very tight rein on our existential doom spirals. All right.
I think Chris has to jump to a work call, actually.
Ironically, I do. So Gautam, I got the nod for going to KubeCon Japan. So I'm working with the Japanese sales team, and I'm meeting up with Tomo-san in a couple of minutes to chat about some customer meetings while we're over there. So
awesome.
Are you going to KubeCon Japan?
Are you trying to make me feel jealous?
No. I'm trying to figure out a way to get you to come over with me.
No, I'm not going, but I'd love to visit Japan in general. I mean, KubeCon is great, but
maybe we should work on a talk for KubeCon Japan and co-deliver a talk on AI. I mean, they'd be all for that, I think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it after this.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Isaiah, congratulations. Give me your information. I'll get you the compute credits. Gautam, thank you so much for coming on. When you gave this internally, I was like, oh crap, our audience definitely needs to see this. This is really good stuff. So we'll get the clean version and the notes and your blog post. We'll put all of that in the show notes so that folks can read up on it, learn a little bit more about you, and get good at MCP, and hopefully it stays relevant for the next couple of months.
And build one too.
Yeah, exactly. And build one. All right, team. Thanks everybody for attending, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Thanks so much.